Hello, hello. I'm looking in the completely different direction now. Uh, Now I'm looking at the camera. Hello. I'm looking at the monitor and that looks completely past the camera, but it doesn't matter. It is nice in the garden right now. I'm sitting here not far from the graves and it's very nice and peaceful and the sun is out. The sun is very slightly clouded by smoke particles that makes the sunlight kind of orangey, but that's okay. It's not too bad. The air has smoke particles in it from the wildfires, but it was it was on the news that we are going to have a rainstorm, so in entire California, and that will also go over Oregon and Idaho and the other areas as well, and I'm infinitely grateful for that. And that rainstorm will last for several days, and that's gonna put all the fires out and everything will be so hydrated that there's no way that the Black Lives Matter people will be able to spark another fire. So that's really good. What we need to have is we need to have real strong surveillance robotics in place. We have to have robot dogs. They have robot dogs from Boston Dynamics. They are absolutely amazing. Jeff Bezos has one of those. And they are yellow. They look like a DeWalt Vice. And they can open doors and they can run really fast and they can bite one of those Black Lives Matter men right into their big booties. So, and it's gonna happen, okay? It's just a matter of time now. So, I see someone has the window there. They cut trees all around us, and now we have less privacy on this part here, on this side here, which is very sad. So it should be illegal to cut trees. Logging should be illegal worldwide, and that's why we need robotics to take over the world rain. We need robotics to be running this planet for sure, and also beyond, of course. So there are so many things to talk about. I'm using this tablet now. This is my travel tablet now, and this one is hooked up to Mickey Daisy Redwood, and that is, I'm gonna keep this channel now as my main channel. That's also my actual artist name. So I've been using different artist names with different accounts because of technological issues, also emotional issues, running away from my family, trying to hide under another channel, and just always, trying to basically run away from psychological stuff, like, for example, not dealing with people, of course, and haters and stuff like this, and the way I deal with it, my default dealing with it is in person and on the internet is by just ducking and dodging, like I just duck away. I kind of like dive underneath the wave, I just walk away. I hide. I do a huge circle around people so that I don't have to deal with them. When I'm in a grocery store and there is another person. It doesn't matter who that is. This has nothing to do with rejecting that person. I always make a huge circle. I don't, and that this was already before the pandemic. This was, and that wasn't even because of getting the flu or any kind of flu or whatever. My husband always thinks this, oh, this is because of germs. No, for me, my OCD doesn't even have fear of germs. My OCD is, I avoid people. I'm big into avoidance. So I'm just avoiding. It's one of the huge actions. Hand washing too. Really serious hand washing. So it's nice in the garden. I like it. So, and I think the reason, first of all, my number one reason why I talk about these things in public is because I know that I'm not the only person. There are many people, not very many people, talk about these things because they're embarrassed about it, because we live in this don't ask, don't tell society where everyone is hiding their personal things, personal issues, usually things that are socially not accepted. But everyone has something going on that is socially not accepted. Whether that is mental illness with OCD like I have, or whether it is men liking fat ladies that they don't talk about in public, but they act out in their privacy, or that's what they think on the internet. It's all monitored anyway. So, but not by anyone. So it's monitored by AI, it's by artificial intelligence so far, and it's eventually the artificial intelligence. There's hardly any human who actually monitors any random person. The people who they monitor, that's people that are not wanted by the corporate agenda. People who, most likely not me, because I'm not a threat to the corporate agenda. I am not a bestseller, so I don't have an audience. But if I grew an audience, then I would get into their radar zone. So, but at this point I'm not. So I only have random individual troll people that come after me that want to kill me because I trigger their emotions, because I talk about emotions that are extremely uncomfortable for them to even hear someone talk about. So that's also why they hate anyone who shows their vulnerability, because they don't want to show their vulnerability. They feel that that's like a threat to them. They think anyone who shows vulnerability is it's a mirror image of their own vulnerability, and they want to get away from that as fast as possible. They want to cover that up. They want to deny it. Okay, so that's why they hate people who are showing vulnerability. And that's also why they bully them, and that's one reason why they bully them. And the other reason is because they think they can bully that other person without any repercussions, without consequences. And the reason why they bully them in the first place is because they think that by bullying someone who doesn't defend herself or himself, they feel like a lion. That's what they told me. That sums it all up. That's like, it makes them, one guy used the word refreshed, which is, I don't even want to talk about that person but it needs to be talked about. We need to talk about this. This has to come out to the surface. Okay. That is so infected. This is such a convoluted, psychologically infected wound that is so covered up, that is so plastered over with cement layers. It's like an armor of cement plastered on top of that festering wound that is underneath. Nothing has healed. It's just cemented over. That's all it is. That's like a worker falling into the Boulder Dam and being cemented over. It's like someone being mummified alive. That's what it is with people who are sadistic. It's like this is such convoluted emotional pain, and the more it is covered up, and the more they feel afraid and they need to cover this, and the more they act out, the worse it gets. Okay, the worse it gets because it doesn't fulfill anything. This is like gambling. This is like any addiction. It doesn't fulfill anything. They end up being in a void. I had a friend once, a woman friend. I talked about her many times in my videos. She trusted me enough, and that's why I'm not gonna mention names. She trusted me enough to open up to me about her, like her bully behavior and her sadistic streak. I don't know how far her sadistic streak went. She didn't reveal probably very much. She didn't reveal 90% of it probably, because she feels ashamed and she knows that I'm totally not. I would never ever be able to understand that. Okay, because I'm coming from a completely opposite direction. But she trusted me enough that I will not bully her, or I will not shame her. That's what the bullies are really mostly afraid of. They're afraid of that, what they're doing to other people. It's this preemptive, striking mentality. But she trusted me enough to tell me that she has worked in a bordel and she has been a dominatrix in San Francisco, and when she was young, and that's also how she met her husband. Because I'm not laughing, okay? So, but he was one of the clients, and she really liked black men the most. But her husband, who she met, was white, and he was playful and peaceful and not judgmental. And I know that's really the key here. He was not judgmental. Just like I am not judgmental. I wasn't judgmental to her. And that made her trust him, and that made her trust me also as a friend. And so that's why she got married to him and left the other guy. That's the only reason, because she was more attracted to the other guy, the father of her 2 sons. One son became a violent criminal. So, and the other son is more submissive type. So, but her husband, the one she's with now, she trusts because he doesn't judge her. He's playful with her and he's motherly. And that's really also what I've been trying to tell men, is that this is what, if you're looking for a long-term relationship, this is what women want. They want a motherly man. That has nothing to do with reducing your testosterone. Okay? That's a personality. That's just how you interact with other people. That's the fairness of your interaction. That's your kindness, your fair play, okay? Your compassion, with other people, to not be taking advantage of someone's vulnerability, particularly emotional vulnerability or physical. So she trusted me enough to tell me a lot about where she was coming from psychologically. And I see that, I can clearly see it's almost impossible for someone like me to understand that and to just follow them into that hellish place, to see what's actually going on in there. So it must be horrific. Okay. I've already been in hellish places psychologically and encountered hellish things, and also hellish anger. But hellish anger, lava fields of anger, is a sane reaction to extreme injustice. Seeing that's a mother bear instinct reaction also that comes from sanity. There are people that where the ego flares up with anger and feels like they need to retaliate, they need to establish their inner equilibrium, which is not real equilibrium, their inner dominance feelings. They want to feel dominant over others. So, and that comes from total insanity. That comes from total unempowerment. That's low vibrational. That is total insanity. Black Lives Matter is total insanity. Okay? Complete insanity. And greed, like with Barack Obama and Biden and Hunter and Kamala Harris. Those are they're driven by greed. They're corporate people. So that's also not wellness. That's very unwell. So, and a lot of people are affected by that. So we have all of these different personalities, these different mental illness characteristics in the world, and they make up the majority of people. And the handful of sane people that actually come from sanity and love and kindness, not from convoluted pain, they come from straightforward pain, like myself. People who end up being very, very depressed, or even getting into self-destructive behavior. There are women that are cutting themselves. I have, when I was a teenager. I have done that, not excessively, but I've done that a little bit. So when I was 19, I have done that because I wanted people to see how much I was hurting. They looked where I was working, they looked at those scars. I mean, those wounds. You can see a little bit here, but I didn't go deep. So, but they looked at these deeper scratches, and they acted like they were just appalled. They didn't even say, "Look, girl, what's going on? What's happening? What are you feeling?" No, none of this. We're sensitive, living in a very cold world. Okay, that wants to cover. Everyone wants to just cover how they really feel. They just want to run away from the pain as fast as they can and say everything's hunky-dory, let's party, oh, it's nothing, what you got a scratch there, oh, don't worry about it, let me buy you a beer. This is how the majority of humans deal with things. Some people actually get violent. Some people from the lower education, people who are not educated, people who come from very religious backgrounds, they'll hit someone and say, now I give you something to cry about. And that's how they deal with it. So I've seen this all around the whole globe. So these subjects, they have to come to the surface. Okay, we don't have any time to lose now. They have to come to the surface, whether we like it or not. Now is the time. We have a pandemic, okay, that is catching on like a snowball effect, okay, whether it's talked about on the news or not. Okay? The pandemic is creeping up. More and more and more people are dying from that pandemic. Okay. So in the very beginning, it was like, oh, so we got a pandemic and you got to stay home. But then they had to lift this. They have to lift this because otherwise the economy is going to come to a free fall. And then we will have complete anarchy. Okay. We have to avoid that from happening. Okay. The opposition is sure trying to get us to that anarchy. They want that anarchy to turn people against Donald Trump. So that's why they do anything in their power to do it. That's why they hire the Muslim agenda to create an Antifa and Black Lives Matter. This is all orchestrated, okay? It's a fact. I've studied this really in depth. And it's a nasty situation. Okay, with that many humans on this planet, and it becomes very non-transparent. It becomes so complex and so twisted, and the media brainwash the public to the point where, you know, they use repetition mainly. Repetition is really the guru of brainwashing. So if you repeat it often enough, the neuronal connection forms itself. I've seen that even with Paul, although he prides himself of being non-brainwashable. So it's ridiculous to believe that he is brainwashable. I can't be brainwashed with this stuff now because my brain is already on high alert. So I have all of my alarm lamps on, and I'm constantly watching the situation from a very critical perspective of alertness. So it will never get into some sort of grooving of neuronal connections with me, because I have completely understood what's going on. So that is a powerful connection that I made, and that cannot be ruined by anything, by no repetition and brainwashing of the media or movies that are sneaking. I see all of this right away, when they are trying to manipulate people, linking A and B up that are normally not linked up. I see this right away. So I see it in movies, I see it everywhere. I see it in shows that Cenk Uygur is doing it. That Cenk Uygur is a complete sellout for the corporate agenda. Completely, totally. That guy's only interested in fame and money. That's all he's interested in. Nothing else matters to that asshole. Okay, so, and that's a fact, and it needs to come out to the surface. So, but my friend has revealed things to me and let me into her brain and see, like someone going to a doctor and saying, look into my ear, with some kind of ear lamp, and see what's going on in there. So that's what she let me do. She let me into her brain, and just to a certain degree, not 100%. That's not safe. That didn't feel safe for her. I don't blame her. Okay. So, but she gave me enough insights now into this mechanism of that type of low vibrational mind state that most people seem to be in. Okay, so retaliation, trying to, bullying someone who can't defend themselves, and trying to aggrandize themselves, bragging, grandstanding, all of these things. Well, those are more on the lighter end of the scale, and then it goes into hurting other living beings physically, and that's when it gets into the much heavier end of that same scale, of that same spectrum of low vibrational unempowerment, slave mentality type of thinking. So the person who feels enslaved, the person who, some of them are talking about it loud, some of them don't even want to acknowledge that they feel enslaved. That's even more convoluted. All of these things need to come to the surface. All of these things have to step by step be brought to the surface. You have to lift these cement layers over cement layers. You have to lift them all up. You have to declutter it. You have to peel off all of those layers of cement and plaster that has been covering up the real you, the inner child, the actual person, the shivering, vulnerable being underneath. So people who take drugs, they have not covered it up with horrible meanness. I talked about this yesterday in the video. They just try to numb themselves, and I don't blame them at all. Not at all. I don't blame you for that. And you should understand that there's no shame at all. Okay? Don't let anyone shame you for that, for if you are numbing yourself with narcotics or alcohol. You do this for a reason. You do it because it hurts like hell. But you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to get anywhere. All of you honey bunnies, you're not going to get anywhere with that. You're slowly digging yourself into the casket. That's what you're doing. You're zombieing yourself into the ground. It's not going anywhere. If you have to make a decision, really have to make a decision now. And that message goes out for the whole world. Do you want to live or do you want to die? Make that decision now. I came to that threshold many times in my life. I would rather die instantly than getting into narcotics. I've already explored a little bit before I was 25, so with alcohol, I've taken Quaaludes, those kind of things, numbing, not feeling pain, and being just, now I can endure the party. Someone from Australia said in the chat room, I'm taking alcohol and whatever he's taking, and that gets him through the chat. It's like, look, if the chat is hell, which it is, why are you in the chat? If that's hell, so much hell that you have to numb yourself to get through it, okay? So what's the point then in even being in there, right? It would be better if you are out in nature with the animals who are not bullying you, who are not being totally toxic. Humans are, most people, they're toxic, psychologically toxic, out of pain and unconsciousness. So, and then the whole world's unconscious about it, and so everyone takes everything personally because of that. And I don't blame you if you take things personally, because I do it too. It happens, okay? It hurts, it burns like a knife, okay? So, but ultimately, it's a misunderstanding. They do it because they're trying to lift themselves up by stepping on others. So it's out of total low vibrational helplessness, total panic, like everyone running over other people to get out of a burning house. So that's basically That's the force behind that. That's how much in a panic they are. They'll step on someone else to try to lift themselves up, which doesn't work in the first place, but they think it does. So let's look at it from above, see the entire picture of it. Okay? You're not gonna get anywhere with the alcohol. It's not gonna get anywhere, or the drugs. It's not going anywhere. Okay? This message goes out there to billions and billions and billions and billions of humans. Okay? So, what a waste of resources, right, to brew up alcohol. What a terrible, horrible waste of resources and your preciousness that you have to offer to it. You are precious. You're a precious living being. You cover it up with alcohol and narcotics. It makes me cry. Because you want to get through the chat room, you want to get through the party alive. Why don't you turn this around? Let's turn this around, okay? Let's do what I do, truth or clown method. Okay? Let's do the truth or clown method. This is what I'm going to call it. Okay. The truth or clown method is you say no to that dynamic because it's false. It's based on misunderstandings, illusion, Maya, they call it in Sanskrit. Let's turn this around. You're invited to a party by some asshole motherfuckers, and you think they're cool, but deep down you know they're motherfuckers. So it's really a waste of time to go there. But let's do this here. This is an exercise for your brain, for your mind. You think you have no one else to talk to. You actually reject the door down the street, right? You reject her or whoever that is, a man, woman, who invited you to their house, and they're baking you a cherry pie or something, and you rejected them. You're like, oh, they're lame. I want to go to that popular party, the popular people, the motherfuckers, with other words. Okay? So not the nice person down the street, the one in a million. No, you reject that person. So, and you do it, and that makes me a bit mad, of course, because it's such an injustice. And the same as Rollo Tomasi, he would reject a dorky woman with bangs. Okay? So he wants the hot babe. Okay, the hot babe who with the fake tits. Okay, and the glitter makeup. Okay, that ends up in the ocean polluting everything. So because he's being told that's hot, and the other one is not. Okay. So, and then he complains that the glitter babe that rejects him, and then it's the total freaking mess. Okay. So, but anyway, let's do this truth or clown method now. You're invited to the cool, in quotation marks, party, and they say there's a dress code. You have to wear Tom Ford and nothing else. You have to wear a Tom Ford tuxedo, or you're not gonna. Okay. This is the truth or clown method. Is I am not going to wear the Tom Ford tuxedo. Okay. So I could never afford a Tom Ford tuxedo. I would also never wear one because I'm a woman. they have some nice women clothes from Tom Ford. I love Tom Ford fashion. Okay, absolutely love it. I can't afford it. So let's say you're a guy and you are invited to the party. I'll do it for the woman too. You're a guy invited to the party. You are in Adelaide, Australia, and you are invited to this tuxedo party. And there are rocket scientists, and there are some celebrity AI researchers, and they say, well, you have to wear a Tom Ford tuxedo or you're not gonna, they might not let you in. So they only let Ben Goertzer in, and he goes there in a Mickey Mouse t-shirt. But that's Ben Goertzer. He gets away with it because he is the actual AI researcher. So the truth or clown method and the truth or clown mental state will say, no, I'm not going to spend $50,000 on a Tom Ford tuxedo. Heck no. Okay, I want to go to Walmart and buy a nice Mickey Mouse t-shirt that says, bring the troops home. I don't know what this is. Probably don't have those t-shirts, but let's say they have one. Okay, so you buy that, bring the troops home, and Mickey Mouse says, bring the troops home. Okay, wear a nice pink, you as a man, you get yourself a nice pink, make sure it's pink, okay, the entire outfit. Okay, my nice pink Mickey Mouse t-shirt that says bring the troops home and says I love soy milk. Okay, and then a nice pink pants designed by Nicola Redwood is what I would do. I'm talking about the future now. So my future dream, okay, I want to be a fashion designer. So you wear a nice pink Nicola Redwood cargo thick stretch pants with nice thick cargo pockets all the way down the legs and with nice flower patterns on it. So, and I will make that for men. You bet I will do that, okay? If I live long enough. When I'm 80 years old, I will be a fashion designer in LA, and I will make flower power, flower petal, pink cargo stretch pants for men. And maybe then, that'll be a long time from now. So then people will be much more into it, and much more. It will be more socially acceptable, at least in the academic circles. So there it will be the nice tone. Okay, so probably not in the unacademic circles. So they'll still call this soy boy, probably some people, but it will be much wider accepted. So, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So if someone says A, you say B. If someone says B, you say A. That's the truth or clown method. Okay, if someone says, and I mean this not in a temper tantrum doing something that is adverse for the world, okay? No, of course not. If someone says be kind and be empowered, you say yes, right on. That's the way to go. But most societies say come in the tuxedo and be a jerk like everyone else. So say no to that, okay? And yeah, walk in there with the Mickey Mouse t-shirt and the pink cargo pants. So that's the truth or clown method. You stand your ground. Okay? You stand your ground for your individual power. Okay? All in the range of peace and love and kindness. Okay? So if you like to wear a blue outfit, then wear a blue outfit. If you like to wear a pink outfit, then wear a pink outfit. For women and men, anyone, okay? If you like the color green better, like Paul does, then that's what you're gonna choose, okay? So even if someone else says you have to wear black, a black tuxedo with a velvet trim, okay? So you say, no, I like blue, or I like pink. I'm gonna wear this pink outfit. So, okay, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. And then you go in there sober. You go to that party sober. What's gonna happen then? You might be trembling a little bit, right? You might be a little bit nervous. Okay, I'm going in there in the way I like it actually. Oh, it's a little bit scary. The women are already looking at you. They're going, oh, he's an individual. Let me check him out. You know? So you'll be very surprised. You'll be very, very surprised what's going to happen. Okay, and how this is going to evolve throughout that night. Okay, you're going to end up not going home alone. Okay? I guarantee that to you. Okay? So particularly if you are sober and your breath smells good and you are chewing a mint gum and you're eating vegan food from the buffet, okay, that's a statement of individuality and peace. Peace. Okay. Not the temper tantrum of some kind of macho guy who says, I'm a carnivore. You can't tell me what to do. Well, those are the ones I encounter all the time. All the time, the same frickin' argumental cycles that I have to go through. Same shit over and over. I should just write this one time, have it in my Google files, copy and paste it every time someone like this comes along. That would save me a lot of time, but it's okay. I reword it. I take my time to give these people facts. I don't struggle with them. I don't struggle anymore. If they don't want to accept it, that's not my problem. That's completely beyond my legislative realm. Okay? If they don't want to accept what I'm saying, then that's their business. But I put this information out there. I give them the facts. Okay? It's very important to give them the facts. You have to give them the facts. I'm sweating. So, give them facts and statistics. Okay? You have to do this. And don't fall for their insults. Don't get mad at them. If they will insult you. Okay? And if they see someone courageously putting up their photo, they will do anything they can to put you down for your appearance. Okay? They'll just nitpick. They'll just invent things to hurt you with. They call me Frankenstein forehead. It's good. I'm glad I have Frankenstein forehead. That means I'm intelligent. Okay, I have a big prefrontal cortex. Spot on, right on to the big Frankenstein prefrontal cortex. Yes. Okay. I can, even though I get very angry sometimes, and I have been quite borderline, because it's overwhelming to be dealing with this ice-cold, brutally twisted, sick world of humans, majority of humans. It's very hard. It can drive anyone into borderline. But my Frankenstein forehead has prevented me from going too far with my whatever angry outbursts. And so the worst I've done was throw a cup or a chair. That can happen, but I never do that when I have a dog. So when I have an animal, I don't do that. So, and that only happens that happens very rarely, and that happens when I'm absolutely continuously provoked. by someone who seems to be deliberately not understanding me, and that is the case often. And so that happened. But when I have an animal, I don't do that. So when I have an animal and I'm provoked, I will complain about my relationship, my friendship with Paul on the internet to friends or in videos, and I will cry, but I won't. So that's my prefrontal cortex being able to stop me from throwing something at Paul, for example. So, but I don't. I feel so much love for Paul, even though he makes me mad sometimes, that the love and the prefrontal cortex will not let me go anywhere in that direction where I'll get so enraged that I will throw something at him. No. So the worst that happens when we don't have a dog is that I might throw a cup on the floor. So, and it happened the other day because it's just been way too much. All of this has been just way too much. The injustice in the world and all of this. So I had 2 suicide attempts after the papa dog died. So very, very, very tough. Very, very tough journey. Okay, tough. And I'm not the only one. So, and this is hugely frowned on and shamed. Borderline, you're borderline. You're crazy. No, I am actually saying I am suffering from the ice coldness and the injustice that's going on in the world. And I want every vulnerable, every compassionate person in the world who is basically suffering in the same way as I am and getting borderline or getting angry and getting a nervous breakdown, and I want all of them to know that, okay, it is because the majority of people are acting out with violence. That is why we feel like this. That's why we often feel like we're cornered, we feel like we're out of our options of moving things forward, and then it burns like we feel stabbed, and that causes one to get into a borderline nervous breakdown. Okay, so that's all. This is just we're living beings. We have a nervous system. That's a reaction to that. Okay? That comes from sanity and compassion. Okay? From despair. It's a mental state of despair. It's a mental state of overwhelm. Tony Robbins always said, stay out of that realm of being overwhelmed. Okay, so yes, that's part of our learning journey, is to stay out of that range of getting completely overwhelmed by things. So we have to do everything. We have to arrange things in our life in a way to stay out of being overwhelmed. That's why I can't talk to my parents, because my mother made me so mad one time that I screamed the F word at her. And later on I felt sorry about this, because she's very old, but she made me very, very mad. Okay, so with her never-ending denial and taking my brother's side, and you know how nasty things can get, really, really nasty between brothers and sisters, and talking with parents and everyone, most people, they want the parents to like them, and most people act it out and I suspect my brother to do this. I don't know for sure, but I suspect that my brother is talking very, very negatively about me and unfairly slander me. and it felt like he was doing it because of the reactions of my parents. So the injustice of all of this can drive someone into throwing the F-bomb and getting borderline, throwing a cup or something like that. So right now I feel really good. I feel like all of these things, they need to be addressed. We need to talk about this. We need therapy centers desperately. The whole world needs therapy centers. These things need to come to the surface. Most people are extremely sick, extremely in denial, like Ronald Reagan was extremely in denial, and Jimmy Carter, those type of people are in total denial, okay, and pushover people like Hillary Clinton that think they have to cut their arms and legs off to appease their constituents or something like this. So this is not okay with me, all of this. This is a very sick world. People are not well, okay? Some people are extremely not well. The worst ones are the cluster B that are extremely low vibrational, that hurt others to lift themselves up. Those are the ones that are the least well. Those are the most sick and convoluted neurosis. Okay, so and that needs to come to the surface. The stuff, I'm not even talking about the judicial system. It needs to come psychologically to the surface. These people need to start talking about all of this, just like my friend started to trust me and talk about that kind of stuff. And I could see how much better she already felt just by talking about it, and by having someone who was not completely losing it and accusing her and shaming her and all of this. Okay, I was more like some kind of, like those Catholic whisper priests that listen to their clients sitting next to them and whispering to them all of their so-called sins. So I don't use that word. So I'm just saying this as a metaphor for the Catholic whisper priest. So, which is in a way a psychotherapist of the past. Then later on it became the psychotherapist. The person would go there and they don't have to whisper anymore. They can talk normally lying on the couch with Sigmund Freud, or sitting on a chair, which I have done many times. I sat on many different chairs talking to psychologists, which didn't bring any result at all. What brought me results was Prana therapy in LA, because there we were allowed to actually talk about everything and feel everything and allow the body to feel everything and allow ourselves to be angry, and it wasn't frowned on, it wasn't shamed. Anger is okay, it's a reaction, okay, to something, to a hurt, okay, that's deep in the past. So we go for the wall. Never let your anger out on someone else. Never go to war. Okay. They are all hurting just like you. You go for the padded wall. You go for your mattress. You don't hurt another living being, animal or human. Okay. You go for your mattress. You close the door in your room. You scream into your pillow. That's what I do. Okay. It feels really good. Man, that's liberating to do that. Or in therapy, in primal therapy, we go deep. We throw ourselves against the padded walls and we scream like a Medusa, and we pound the walls with our fists. Okay, and that's a way to go for it. Okay. Primal therapy itself, I don't recommend, because people have died because they have done too many mistakes. And they didn't listen. Most of them did not listen to anything I said because of their egos and all that. We cannot have that. Okay, that has to be dissolved. Okay, When we create therapy centers, I also don't want to call it primal therapy. I want to call it something else. I call it, I don't know, how do we call this? Just deep feeling therapy. That's all we have to call it. We don't have to name it at all. Truth or clown method. People are not going to accept that terminology, but it's deep feeling. You go into it. I'm not even going to call it completion process, which Teal Swan is doing, and I accept her fully, 100%. She's amazing. Okay. Because completion, then it goes back to the ego thinking, oh, I'm not complete, I need something to complete me, something else. No, you're already complete. You're just hurting. You're hurting deeply, and you need to dive deep into that emotional pain. Okay, so that's what Ralph Smart calls it, diving deep, and I'm on board with that. That's very true. We have to dive very, very deep to get to the core of the emotional pain. So you have to dig into the emotional pain, whatever you want to call it. Okay, you have to go into it. So I call it also, I use the terminology from Tibetan Buddhism or Sanskrit, the inwardness process. It's a meditation. It's also part of vipassana. It's part of samadhi. It's part of prana yoga. This is all part of this inwardness process. So I want to wrap the video up with something that everyone can do right now. First of all, I recommend you really got to cut down on everything that destroys your body. Okay, you cut down immediately on it. If not, quit it instantly, cold turkey. So if you can, you have me as a friend. I am here. So I am someone to lean on, because I've been through so much in my life already, and I consider myself to be a health expert in every regard, physically and emotionally. So, and I am becoming what I wanted to become as a child. When someone asked me, what do you become when you grow up? When I was 6 years old, and I said I want to become a veterinarian, a physician, a jeweler, a fashion designer, an artist, all of these things. How children, they just go for all of this, right? And it's coming true. It's coming true in my life. Whether this is being accepted by society or not makes no difference to me whatsoever. I have this medium, tablet, and computer, and that's sufficient enough for me to communicate this to other people. Even if it's just 2 people watching, 2 peaceful people watching, that's already doing something. That's doing something good. Okay, and I want other people to have that same attitude. As you talk to the dork down the street, you actually go to his birthday cake party of 2 people, and you enjoy the cake with that person, and you don't go to the tuxedo party. So that's my recommendation. And you don't drink the alcohol, and you stop that struggling with other people, the struggling for approval and love. Free yourself. Okay, there is a property in Bel Air that has an artwork. I don't know who made this, but that artwork is sitting right there at the edge of the property, and it spreads its wings. Okay, and it says, I'm done with all of this struggle. I am spreading my wings. I am ready to fly over the entire Bel Air Canyon, okay, and the reservoir. So, and that's what I want every single person to do. Okay, so I'm gonna do a prana yoga exercise for you. I hope that this is not, the light is not too bad and too unflattering, but I want to do the exercise with you, breathing, and also a stretching exercise. that is very liberating and very, very, very good to do. So, see if it will come out. I don't know if it will because it's on the floor. It's on the floor. I don't know it will. These are my frumpy clothes. Yes. So, anyway, so you stand up and you open your arms and you lift your arms up high into the air and you stretch as far into the sky as you can, like that sculpture that opens her wings, okay? And you say, I've had it with struggling with people, with neurotic people. I don't struggle anymore. I don't want to struggle anymore, okay? I want to liberate myself. I don't want to wear bras when I'm at home, okay? So, I want to be free, okay? So, free all the jiggles on your body, wherever they are, jiggles, wherever they are, okay? So, and then you go into this position here. You breathe real deeply, real deeply. This is the sun dog, Prana yoga position, okay? And then you sit up and you stretch your arms like this. Like this. Straight, like this. Like wings, okay? And you go back into this. I can feel the tension. I can feel this tension in my shoulder that actually is resisting this a little bit. The tension right in here. But it wants to free. It needs to free itself. It wants to free itself, okay? But it's also it's a little bit bunched up because of the way we sit on our computers. Okay, so this is a very, very liberating prana yoga exercise, and you can try that at home on your lawn or on a yoga mat. And always breathe very, very deeply. Like this, hold your breath for a few seconds and then breathe out slowly. Breathe in slowly, don't breathe fast. To get as much oxygen into your body as possible. And that's very, very liberating, okay? So, that is my video for today. Take care, love and peace.